Welcome this morning, and my name's Scott Pence, and it's my privilege this morning to do something really special. We're going to have our presentation of our Mexico trip this morning. And, Jesus told us to love God, love each other, love our neighbor, and go into the world to make disciples. And, here at Campbell, we choose to do that. And we do it pretty well, I think. The third week of February, 42 missionaries, including 33 people from our body, a former Campbell Christian family, the Donderos, who now live in New Zealand and flew back to go on our mission trip. Oh my. And a former Campbell Church member, Kimberly James, she was here in the 80s and used to go to San Felipe. She now lives in Arizona, and she brought her 3 kids, met us, and we all met at the border down in San Diego, and took our 4th mission trip to Tijuana with Amor Ministries to give a house to somebody who didn't have a house. And so with that being said, Elizabeth Shen, one of our young people here who's been on at least 3 or 4 of these trips with her dad, put together an awesome video, time-lapse, and shows what we did, and I'd like to show you that video right now.
Like a bull chasing the matadors, a man left to his own schemes. Everybody needs someone beside him, shining like a lighthouse from the sea. Brother, let me be your shelter, never leave you all alone. I can be the one you call when you're low. Brother, let me be your fortress on the night winds are driving on. Be the one to light the way, bring you home. Face down in the desert now, there's a cage locked around my heart. I found a way to drop the keys when my failures were. Now my hands can't reach that far. I ain't made for rivalry, I can never take the world alone. I know that in my weakness I am strong, but it's your love that brings me home. Brother, let me be your shelter, never leave you all alone. I can be the one you call when you're low. Brother, let me be your fortress when the night winds are driving on. Be the one to light the way, bring it home. And when you call and need me near, saying where'd you go, brother, I'm right here. And on those days when the sky begins to fall, you're the blood of my blood, we can get through it all. Brother, let me be your shelter, never leave you all alone. I could be the one to call when you feel low. Brother, let me be your fortress when the night winds are driving on. Be the one to light the way, bring it home. Brother, let me be your shelter, never leave you all alone. I can be the one you call when you're low. Brother, let me be your fortress when the night
What do you guys think of that? Well, I'll tell you, we needed your prayers, and we definitely felt your prayers and support the week that we were down there, starting with Shane's Friday email asking for a safe drive down to the border, because it really was Southern California's 20-year storm. I'll tell you, the grapevine was crazy. Anyway, God blessed us with the opportunity for the first time for all 42 of us to work together on one site this year. Usually we split into two teams and build two houses on separate work sites. But this year, Brian thought, I wish I could work with everybody. God answered his prayer. Amor contacted Brian with a double build. So the house you saw was twice as big as normal. It was a 4-room house. And that's because the family that we built it for was a family of 8. And they lost their house in a fire in October. And since October, they'd been living in one room of a neighbor's house. The husband was injured in the fire, and then after recovering and going back to work, he was injured at work. So we didn't get to meet him. He was staying, I think, with his mom closer to the hospital. But we met his wife, Anna, her mom, Anna's 4 kids, and her little grandson. So they all lived in one house. They were all staying in one room at the time we were there. Families like Anna's are chosen by Amor Ministries to receive a house, and they're chosen in conjunction with the local pastors, and it's based on need, the local church affiliation, and if they own the property. Because if they don't own the property, you know, the landlord could kick them out because he's got a new house and they could raise the rent and all this kind of stuff. So you have to own the property. Anna's family, as well as 6 other families that this Campbell Church bunch has built houses for, met these criteria. And as you saw on Anna's face as she was holding that key, we handed over the keys, the look of joy. You know, she was just there all week with us, and it's pretty hard to describe how it makes you feel to do something like that for somebody. So at this point, I'd like one of our very hardworking missionaries, Bailey Cannett, to come up here and tell you what it means to her to go to Mexico and show God's love.
Good morning, church. Today I've been asked to share my personal experience from the Mexico mission trip I attended with my family and other members of the church. When I decided to speak today about my experience, my dad asked me some questions. First, he asked me, Bailey, what is the fear that you had the first year you went, and how did you find that fear not to be true? When I decided, I said, well, I was afraid that despite being with my church family and my friends, that I wouldn't be safe because of the environment we would be in. I also had a fear of our church not being accepted by the community, not having that welcoming feeling that also brings a sense of comfort. However, when we got there, it was the opposite. We had to escort to and from the job site every day and 24-hour security at the campsite, so my fear of the trip being unsafe was no longer there. It was very welcoming. People were very curious about who we were and what we were doing in their neighborhood. They were also very thankful for the work we were doing. Another question he asked me was, how did I see God at work? On this year's trip, we were finishing up the last day on the house and getting ready to hand over the keys to the family who we had built this house for. We had handed over the keys and everyone was saying their goodbyes, and the family was giving us many thanks for our hard work. A couple minutes later, I was standing next to my dad and Stephanie when I happened to look through the window and see the mother of the family crying her eyes out over what she had been given. God had given us all such an opportunity to be able to come out here and give a family something that would change their lives. Lastly, I was asked why I would recommend this trip to other people. This trip is a trip you go on, and once you come back, you're a different person. This trip brings families together and creates bonds and memories that stay with you way beyond the length of the trip. It's also a very good way to get to know people from the church that you normally wouldn't spend a lot of time with. It puts people in close quarters with one another, so it's impossible for everyone to not become friends. This trip is a lot of hard work, but it's worth every minute when we finally hand over the keys and witness firsthand how much we have changed a family's life. Thank you to everyone for your time, and God bless.
Okay, we have another quick slideshow that I'm going to narrate a little bit. So go ahead and fire that off, would you? All right. As we went down, as you saw, the roads aren't that great, and this is going into camp, and we camped there for the entire time. It was a little bit chilly there. Warmed up as the week went on. I don't know, that looks kind of goofy. But we kind of had to trench around our tents in case it rained, deluged again. This is what it was like going in the first day. That's Paul Prunty's new truck. Yeah, everybody's did that. Every morning we'd have a devotion, we'd have a Bible verse and have prayer. This is what our job site looked like initially. This is Tijuana. And the first thing you have to do is sort and figure out what kind of lumber you have. But the most important thing is to get the slab poured on the first day. You have to have the slab poured so you can put the walls up on the second day. Those are walls being built and being put up. We have some very skilled people. We also have people that are very photogenic. And that was probably Casper playing with one of the local kids. We worried that we wouldn't have enough room for everybody, but we did. You know, it was great. Smiley girls. John Bridges supervising from the roof. Everybody gets to, pitch in. Got to keep Kyle from falling off the roof. It's kind of amazing. In 5 days, you can put up a house. Mara and Rebecca, and of course you have to have lunch. And peanut butter and jelly are awesome, even in Mexico. There's Kurt. And we had VBS. It's pretty important. The kids just swarm around, and it goes on all week. There we are attempting to sing Jesus Loved Me in Spanish, and Patty giving a Bible lesson to one of the local kids. Patty Sayer was our main translator. She's awesome. Stucco on the house, 2 layers of stucco. And then we do extra little added things like putting in a walkway. We built bunk beds for them, and most groups that go down just build a shell of a house. How would you feel if you got a new bed? We even provided mattresses and pillows. And there it is, big pot of tamales there on the sidewalk, the biggest pot of tamales I've ever seen. Those were our bosses. And then we had a housewarming party, and we all got to eat fresh tamales. There must have been 200 tamales in that pot. We gave out things to the neighbors. The elementary school kids wear uniforms. They got soccer balls and frisbees and games, and that little boy loves his brother. It's for families. Send your young people down. There they are. That's Anna, second from left. And Gordon's doing the blessing, and Patty's translating. And then the last day we pack up, and people are tired, and we make new friends. And then we have to say goodbye to our new friends. And back at camp, we had a fire every night, thanks to Tim Aarons and Bob Rashesco. We ate great Mexican food, breakfast and dinner. We had fresh churros a couple times during the week and just got to know each other. We sang praise and had a little worship and devotion in the evenings. And I ask anybody that would like to join us next year. Building Hope, that's Amor Ministries' motto, Building Hope in Mexico. And like I said, I'll see you there. So, as you can see, God showed up. He's faithful. We made it safely once again. We were blessed to meet a wonderful family and their neighborhood friends as we worked and held VBS, showed God's love in their neighborhood for 5 days, had devotions at night and every morning. We ate together, we worshiped together, we prayed for each other, we got to know each other, our struggles, our joys, our dreams. It's just an opportunity to fulfill the Great Commission, go into the world and make disciples, spread God's love. Anybody can do this. We had missionaries from age 8 to 80, men, women, and children. And I would really like to encourage our young people and families to go next year. Bring a tent, bring a sleeping bag, bring your hammer, a willing heart, and God, Brooke, and Kurt will use you. I want to thank everybody here for your prayers for this mission field, for your financial support, and for your loving, caring hearts. And it really means a lot to all of us, so thank you.